everyone. Welcome back to another special edition episode during the COVID-19 pandemic episode of the Sharpest tool. My name is Josh Smith. I'm your host and the Vice President of Marketing for Home Services over at Scorpion. I'm really excited today because we have Holly Holder, who is our Director of SEO for Home Services, here joining us on the show today to talk about a pretty important topic. So Holly, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Josh. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, why don't you give our listeners a little bit of an insight into your backstory, what it is you do at Scorpion for Home Services?
Sure. So I've been working at Scorpion in the SEO realm for the past almost 8 years. I have worked directly as the Director of SEO for Home Services for the past 3 years, working with our clients to create, strategies that work for them so they can get the right business, get in front of the right customers. I love looking at search intent, what's going on in the industry, and seeing how we can utilize what's happening in the current space for our customers, specifically in home services. I mean, I have a background working with lawyers as well and other types of businesses, but my heart is with home services and just seeing how we can help everyone create the ultimate website experience, user experience, SEO, organic experience for our clients so that they can see optimal results.
I love that. That's definitely something that I know SEO has always been a hot topic. It's a hot button topic for everybody. We've seen it go through ebbs and flows over the years. What would you say, just kind of for those who may or may not be as familiar with SEO, the process, what it's about, maybe their current marketing provider hasn't done a good enough job explaining exactly what that is. What is SEO and why should we care?
So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, and essentially it's sort of the last, we almost call it the last free form of marketing in the sense that you don't have to pay to have people click on your search result. Ideally you're doing the right things on your website to get in front of people, and it's different than paid ads in that you don't have to pay if someone does click on your organic search result. It includes, local SEO, ranking in what Google calls the map pack, that, list of 3 listings you often see when you're doing a search in Google Maps, and anything below that. It involves content, blogs, everything is all kind of works together on your website to create a user experience that allows people to find you, and you present the information on your website to tell people what you do, and you hope that Google finds that relevant, and then you rank and get business. That's kind of the long and short of it. But you're right, it is always changing. I mean, when I started doing this almost 8 years ago, it was completely different, the way that we did things, and it's important that you're staying on top of whatever the latest trends are so that you're not falling behind, because what was true last year, even 6 months ago, is not necessarily true today.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, what would you say are like the top 3 things that business owners should be focusing on when it comes to their SEO in today's landscape?
So in today's landscape, in light of kind of everything going on with the coronavirus and everything, definitely the landscape has changed, and people are doing a lot more informational searches. They may not have the money to spend right away on things, so they're doing a lot of searches for DIY or how to fix stuff themselves, which may or may not work out well for them. But people are trying to save money, or they don't want necessarily to have unnecessary people in their home if possible, so they're trying to look for a lot of information first, or maybe they are wanting to call someone, but they really want to do their research and make sure that they're abiding by cleanliness standards and things like that. And the other, people have changed their hours right now. Like, a lot of businesses have had to kind of pause on their operations or adjust in the way that they do things. I mean, even, your little local coffee shops, they've adjusted the way they do, online pickup and things like that. So different for home services. Obviously, they're an essential business, and so they can continue to run, but many have had to adjust their hours, and you need to keep that updated on your Google My Business profile, on your website, letting people know that you are open and operating, because not everyone is. So I think that's super important as well.
Yeah, so you definitely have to obviously provide correct information. It's going to be kind of step number 1 there. You mentioned the sanitation stuff, so letting people know you're taking measures to protect their health. And then you mentioned just age of information right now. So obviously providing helpful content for consumers right now amid the COVID-19 situation. which makes total sense to me. What would you say is kind of the current state for home services SEO during the crisis right now? Let's just kind of dive right into it. We've talked a lot about on this podcast, particularly paid search and some of the social metrics and things like that. Let's dive into SEO. What's going on with SEO right now?
So SEO across the board, organic traffic, we would even expect this right now, that traffic and leads have seen a little bit of a dip, but generally speaking for many people across various industries. I mean, I think just the whole economy in general is seeing a bit of that fluctuation. I think especially in the last few weeks as everything has gone from kind of 0 to 60 rather quickly, we may see a little bit more of an evening out now that people are adjusting to a new normal. I know I am, and I think a lot of us are. So people are becoming more comfortable potentially dealing with things in their home that they've been putting off, and kind of taking the next step beyond just, initial panic, or, kind of understanding what they need to do to, adjust to this new schedule. Yeah. So I think beyond that, though, now people are, like I was kind of saying, people are searching for how to fix things themselves, or they're looking for general information about indoor air quality, perhaps, and if adding a certain filter or an air scrubber to their home could help with, overall health and things like that. People are searching for now. Again, we've seen a huge increase in DIY searches for a lot of our clients. And I think that it's important for us to be adjusting because things are changing daily. So here, at Scorpion, as far as how we're handling SEO, we're definitely taking it day by day because updates are coming out frequently from Google about how to keep your GMB page updated, what are best practices. And I think just everyone at home is sort of living day by day too. Yeah. So yeah, people are looking for a lot of information. It's a good time to provide kind of that free information for people because it's going to build trust down the line when they do need to call someone, or if they've surmised that it's too complicated of an issue for them to fix. People do value having that free information. I know a lot of different businesses are providing, free opportunities and incentives and things like that to help people during this time. It kind of shows that you care as well, that, hey, you don't necessarily need to call us. Here's a helpful video on how to fix, a water heater issue or a toilet that may be clogged or something like that. It's building that trust, which I think is really important right now. People are nervous and they want to know that they can trust you to provide that information, and then they may call as well.
Yeah. I know GMB's been making a lot of changes to the platform as well. Google's been making a lot of changes to the Google My Business platform. And they just released a feature, if I'm not mistaken, last week that allows businesses to push out COVID-19 related posts to their GMBs, things like hours of operation, temporary closures, changes of how the business operates in the restaurant field, such as like takeout, delivery, call for details, that sort of thing, updates on how the location's being managed as it relates to safety and hygiene, and ultimately requests for support. So if there was any indicator that all those things and keeping those up to date is important to Google when it comes to SEO, I think these changes can kind of point us to that fact.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, especially to be for business owners to be patient with some other changes outside of the hours, hours, address, name, phone number, things like that are critical, obviously, to your business, and you can post helpful, what we call GMB posts on your listing to let people know that you're open and things like that. But Google is definitely emphasizing healthcare businesses right now as far as any other changes that need to be had. So it's important, if you're looking to verify a new listing or anything like that, it may take some time. There may be some complications with that because Google's trying to take care of their staff as well, and kind of look out for them. So, but yes, they do have something we've been doing here at Scorpion is posting, letting people know that, hey, our businesses are still open, and posting a nice little graphic for potential customers to see their clients are still operating and there to serve them. So that's definitely something you can do. They even have a very simple, you don't even have to have a graphic. They have a spot when you go into your Google My Business, when you log in and you go to create a post, there's an option to do a COVID-19 update, and you can just write in some text there as well. Keep it really simple. So they're trying to make it as easy as possible, I think, for people to adjust. And yes, they have the temporary business closures or temporary hour adjustments as well too, which helps people. So you don't have to say that you're closed forever.
Yeah, awesome. That's obviously really, really good information. How would you say search has been impacted the most during this time?
I think just knowing that the intent, people are maybe more at the top of the funnel, what we call the marketing funnel, as I'm sure we've talked about before, that people are in that informational stage. They're doing a lot more research now. So it's important for us to get in front of people with blogs, again, helpful videos if you have a YouTube account, or even just if you have videos that you're filming on your iPhone and you can send those to whatever marketing people you're working with and get those posted somewhere. Of you telling people how to fix simple things. A lot of people are searching for, we mentioned earlier, indoor air quality improvements, maybe water filtration systems, because, it's harder to go out and buy. People aren't buying water bottles as much, or they're sold out. So people are looking for alternatives to that. And emergency services. If you think about it, if people are more wary right now, they're more likely to call if it's an actual emergency versus if it's something that they can sort of wait on. Like obviously you need your toilet running and you need your air conditioner working or your heater because it's still a bit chilly out right now and people are home. So now more than ever, they can't escape necessarily. So they're needing these things fixed quickly. And it's important if you do offer emergency services to make sure that you're, making that very clear on your website, again, on your Google business description or on a post, letting people know that you're here for them despite everything. Because a lot of people don't know that home service businesses are still essential.
Yeah. You mentioned a number of these kind of already, but I'm curious if there's anything else that comes to mind that you've seen in terms of what's most important to consumers right now during this time. We've obviously talked a bit about the DIY stuff, emergency situations, some sanitation practices. Is there anything else that you've found search trend wise to be really valuable and important for business owners to know?
So not only are people obviously looking for information and help with emergency, people are unfortunately out of work or temporarily laid off or just not making as much money as they usually do. Just due to their certain job situation. So people are looking for, if you are offering a coupon of any kind, or maybe you're offering a free service call during this time to help people out, that can be something really advantageous to promote because, again, money is tight for a lot of people right now. And promoting we kind of talked about this already, but what measures you're taking to help prevent the spread of COVID, because obviously that's on everyone's mind. If you're having someone in your home, you want to know that, are they wearing booties when they come in your house? Are they wearing masks? Are they wearing gloves? What kind of sanitation measurements are they taking when they're working and afterwards? And so people have a total peace of mind when you come to their house. They're not at all concerned about what that might look like.
Yeah. What should businesses be focusing on for their SEO strategy in a time of crisis? And specifically, obviously, we're in a time of crisis right now with the coronavirus. So what are some things that from an SEO perspective would be advantageous for a business owner to focus on during a time of crisis?
So something we've seen a lot of businesses start to do, some did it before, but definitely an increase in people offering virtual assessments where people can get on, a webcam like this or over the phone and kind of explain the issue and get virtual help to better understand too if maybe it's something that can be fixed without having someone come over, or then, just knowing better what you're working with. That's something that people are doing and is a huge help for a lot of people. Again, any specials that you're running, if you can at all afford to, maybe remove the service fee, things like that, people are definitely going to, in most cases, choose the option that maybe costs them a little bit less money during times like this because they're, you have a budget to stick to. And then just also how you might be taking care of people in the community. Like if you're involved in helping, deliver groceries to elderly. We have a client that is doing something like that where they're using their trucks to help deliver goods to people in the community who can't get out at all. So anything like that you might be doing that shows, that's genuine, obviously, that's showing people that you care, and things that you're doing to help out not just your customers and not just your business, but your community. Because people right now, again, they want to see that it's more than just about making money, or, that you're kind of like chasing people down to get business. They want to know that you care. And so if you're doing anything like that, definitely pass that on to your marketing team so that they can highlight that. And that's just awesome to see as well, I think, during a time like this.
I feel like you do have the segment of people who are very kind of wary during this time when it comes to business owners and how they operate. And people's, for the most part, people's opportunistic engine or radar starts to go off when you have somebody who's seeking this as an opportunity just to make money off of customers. And so I think it's something to be very aware of. Just to your point of, you gotta breed content that's going to ultimately help somebody with no investment on their part. And that's going to help you, if not anything in the short term. SEO has always been a long-term game, right? So it's something that's building you up for when things do return to normal on the SEO side.
Yeah, definitely. And even if you have a blog that, say starts getting traffic for a search, like how do I, fix my water heater myself, or it's not, not getting hot water help. By getting that traffic to those pieces of content, whether you're running a social campaign with it, or you just are getting regular blogs, or you're writing your own blogs, that can help bring traffic to your site. And then that inversely can help with your SEO overall, because it's a whole package. It's not just, your service pages or, your backlinks or whatever. It's everything. And Google looks at all pieces of that to kind of see the full picture of who you are as a business and what you do. And so again, if you're getting traffic from your blogs, that's great. Just because they're informational doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to lose out on customers. Well, no, it's going to help your SEO for your primary keywords as well. And like you said, it's going to help people in the meantime. So then maybe they don't end up needing to call someone right now, but they're going to remember your name when they do need to call, whether it's now or after the crisis has sort of passed.
Yeah, definitely. What steps currently is Scorpion taking right now to act in the SEO side of things based off this information that you just talked about?
Yeah, so we are working closely with clients to make sure that if they are open during this time, we have banners created on the website that let people know right away that, hey, we're open and operating, and these are the measurements we're taking. A lot of times we're working with clients to create pieces of like a page of content on the website about the COVID-19 safety measures they're taking. That can be really helpful if you don't have a page or a blog on that yet. That's something to consider putting together, just because again, it adds that extra layer. If you have a button right at the top of your site that says COVID-19, people can click and immediately be put at ease seeing, oh, they're aware of this and they're not just pretending like it's not happening. And these are the things they're doing to help, and as well as focusing on emergency repairs, I think are a big thing right now for us. We've kind of been focusing on indoor air quality up until this point, but now I think emergency is really where it's at, where a lot of people are needing help quickly. Indoor air quality is definitely something for, if people have maybe a little bit of extra money to spend on something like that, or they just want that extra feeling of safety. Now, you do have to be careful when you're writing content like that you're never promising that anything like that is going to help prevent the virus from entering your home or help cure anything like that. You do have to be careful with the language that you use to never have any misleading content, because Google can be, want to be just extra cautious with that right now. In all the posts that we're doing and content. We're also doing Google My Business posts, which I touched on a little bit earlier, but creating a nice little graphic that says, we're still here to serve you, we're still open, and we're posting it on our clients' business pages so that it's up for people to see when they do, if they land on their Google My Business profile. It's a quick, easy way for people to see that they're open and that they are considered a government essential business.
Definitely. So this is really, really helpful information. Overall, I think there's a few things that I'm seeing based off what you're saying. We're seeing there is a decrease in some areas, in some respects, when it comes to search volume overall. You know, it was interesting. One of the stats that you were sharing with me prior to was with respect to the average rankings of a client kind of in across the country that we're running. And we're seeing a dip in traffic in some areas, but not necessarily a dip in rankings, which just showcases that behavior is changing, not necessarily the dynamics of Google's algorithm. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's totally fair to say. I haven't seen major drops in rankings. If anything, things are moving as usual. We're still seeing improvements for a lot of keywords we're working on. I think it's just definitely been a drop in traffic because people are taking care of the essentials in their life first. And if, this isn't one of those essentials, they're going to wait. But again, hopefully now that things are calming down a bit, people will start to realize, okay, I'm adjusting and we're figuring this out. And these are things that we do take care of. And I think it's just important for everyone to keep in mind too, that this is happening to everyone. So if your business is experiencing, a bit of a downward trend in traffic or leads, you do everything you can, but recognize that your competitors are dealing with the same thing. It's not like, we're the only ones going through this. Everyone's kind of going through it together. So I think that's important to keep in mind. And just knowing that every day it's changing, but that, ideally whoever, you may be working with, that your marketing team is on top of that, because it's fluid. It's always going to be changing. It's not something we can predict day in and day out. So I think that's all that we can do from an SEO side of things as we see. I think that's something else important too, is that sometimes the traffic drop will be for, you may look at your stats and see a drop in traffic, but it may be for blogs that are no longer ranking. And you really do need to look and see what are the blogs that were ranking. Were they super valuable, helpful blogs, or maybe was it some very, niche specific term that's not actually super relevant to us anymore, and that's okay that dropped off, because sometimes that can skew your traffic when you're looking in something like Google Search Console or Google Analytics. So that's also important to look at too, that it's not necessarily an indication of a drop off in, traffic to your site that is super, super beneficial, but, you got to look at it all carefully and analytically.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, this has been awesome, Holly. I really appreciate you taking the time to be able to share all this knowledge with us. What would you say, just kind of in closing, we've talked about a lot here, what would you say is one piece of advice that you would give business owners when it comes to their SEO during this crisis that we're facing right now? What should they do?
Yeah, so I think overall, SEO has always been about the customer, and Google very much has always, wanted people to create content and create websites that are easy for customers to use, provide valuable information, are authoritative. And again, it's the whole picture, who are you as a business and a brand, rather than just trying to get rankings. So that hasn't changed. It's still all about the customer. And I think it's just a season of how do we provide even more information to customers? How do we let them know that we're open and operating? How do we let them know the measurements we're taking, to protect them? It's because, again, it's up to the customer if they want to click through and call you. There's plenty of options out there. So what are you doing, to kind of stand out, and how are you promoting that? Or are you just kind of waiting on the sidelines for this to pass? I think it's important to definitely not give up on SEO during this time, because again, it's a long game thing. And now more than ever, we need to be in front of people with the correct information, and just helping people. I mean, I think that's an important part of SEO is we want to connect customers with the right businesses. And so how can you help people? How can you provide people with what they might need during this time, to, again, build customers for life?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Holly, for taking the time. Really appreciate your insights on all this.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
Awesome. And for everybody listening, definitely hit the like button and subscribe button wherever you might be listening at, so you can continue to get more of these updates and this content here. Also, definitely head on over to the resource page that we have at Scorpion surrounding all the COVID-19 stuff. We got a lot of knowledge, trends, resources, and data there for you to digest, to be able to incorporate into your marketing campaign. And if you have any questions, you are a Scorpion client, definitely chat with your marketing manager about anything that we talked about today so you can be fully assured of everything that your team is doing for you in this particular area of SEO. From all of us here at the Sharpest Tool, we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.